even though I do think the week starts on Sunday, Kent and I argue about this all the time, whether the week starts on Sunday or Monday. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 156 of the Love and Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, and it always feels so nice and pure to start a podcast on a brand new month, and especially the podcast where I'm going to be talking about my plans for the month. It's just all nice and fresh that way. I love that. So happy Halloween. That's passed, and it will definitely pass by the time you are watching this. And happy Dia de los Muertos if you celebrate, and Diwali, and all of the different things. I'm in my membership, we have quite a diverse community of people, and so I have been doing my best to learn about different holidays throughout this time of the year. So that's what I've learned about so far, and more to come. Okay, so I am wearing one of my Definition collection shirts, my procrastinating one. I believe this is the men's premium. I think it's the men's one. It's that the premium material just has a little bit of synthetic in it that makes it a little bit softer material than 100% cotton. These shirts are no longer available. They are retired, but you can get the same style with the Love and Stitches logo on it. I always have that linked down below. Okay, coming up in this episode, I'm going to be sharing my plans for November. I am also going to be talking about my twist and turns shawl immediately. So if you have not seen up to clue 4, I'm going to be showing clue 4, then you're going to want to look for the timestamp that's coming up soon and skip ahead, because that's the first project that I'm going to talk about here once we get into it. Okay, anything else to share? I don't think so. I think we should just dive right in. We're going to start with my main whip from the last week, which is the Twists and Turns shawl by Stephen West. So this is your last chance to click away if you do not want to see up to clue 4 on this shawl, because that is where I am at today. And there will be a timestamp where you can skip ahead if you don't want to see that and move on to the next project. So I just put out a vlog this morning that is part 1 of this journey that's still ongoing because I haven't finished it yet. But it's a much deeper look, kind of behind the scenes, if you will, of the Twist and Turn shawl, where I was recording pretty much every other day and talking about the process of knitting the shawl and all the emotions and thoughts and everything that went behind it. So you can go watch part 1 right now, and then next Tuesday I'm going to have the second part because I will be done with this. I'm not done yet. But here we go. Let's take a look at the Twist and Turn shawl. I just realized that I haven't put a marker in here, a progress keeper, to show where I was last week versus this week. So I'm gonna have to guess. I'm gonna have to see if I can remember. Let me set that on the floor. Okay, here is my shawl. We're getting so close to the end. It definitely looks different than last week because actually now I just remembered what I did and didn't do. So here's a summary. This part here was clue 1. These little pink and gray sections plus the cable sections were all clue 2. That was a lot of knitting, all of that. And then clue 3 was these wild, just the gray part, these wild little guys. So that's what I was working on last week, I believe, because I was on clue 3 last week. It was just these long, crazy things. And I was also working on the little I-cords that get woven into the cable. So I did all of those, and I did those with double pointed needles. I have loved using double pointed needles for all the I-cord elements, and actually I've used it for some of the other things, like when I was picking up stitches, because it was just kind of awkward to bend my needle a certain way. I just grabbed a double pointed needle and used it as the needle to pick up stitches, and then knit it onto my circular needle. So I've used double pointed needles in so many ways in this project that it's made me think about actually getting another set of double pointed needles for sizes 4 through 8 that I really enjoy. I don't know if I talked about this in the podcast, but I know I talked about it in the vlog, or I'm going to. I don't think that's there yet. I think that's in part 2. But I got a 5 and a 7 inch double pointed needle set from Clover because that's just the lengths that they come in. And I don't really care for either one. I really like a 6 inch double pointed needle, and I know I can get that from other brands like Knit Picks and who knows who else has those, but I like that size. Anyway, it's made me think about maybe getting a set that I really enjoy. So then that brings us to clue 4, and a big part of clue 4 is what you're seeing here with these little stripes. So coming closer, these are garter and stockinette stitch stripes. I very much enjoyed doing this section because basically the whole time you're like picking up a stitch from this crazy little, it was like a little arm looking thing, and you're picking up a stitch and you're just attaching it, and your rows get shorter and shorter and shorter. It did take me quite a while to do this, like something like 8 or so hours for each one, because you do it again here on the other side. But it was very satisfying, and I do like how it looks. Wild how we got there, but there you go. Okay, so let me show this again. It's a very skinny, chair chill. It's a very like skinny, long shawl. I've seen some people lay theirs out flat and it's very like spaceship looking. It's kind of wild. I mean, we knew it was gonna be wild. It's Stephen West. It's been fun. It's been a lot of things, and I'll just let you see all that in the vlog. But I am now working on the final section, section 10. And that is where my needles are right now. I should probably see how my stitches are like right on that point where like the needle connects to the cord. That probably means I need a longer needle, but you know what? I only have a few rows to go, so I don't really care. So I am working on section 10. I've just picked it up. You can see it's a twisted rib there, and it's a chevron. Now, there are 2 options that are in the pattern for finishing this shawl. One is an extension of this chevron. It looks a little different, but it's the same colors, and I don't like it. It looks weird to me. It like comes out like only from this part. It kind of looks like a bib or something. I don't know. I'm just not really into it. And a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people's, they've done it and they've blocked it kind of rounded and it looks good. But then a lot of people's, I've honestly not really cared for the look, and that's fine. That's just my opinion. And I know now better than to just do what it says and to do something that I'm going to like. So the other option is sort of Stephen calls it an early exit. And you do this part, everyone does this part. Well, you don't have to, but that's how the section begins, whether you finish early or not. And then you bind off. Like basically, I don't know, 6 rows from doing an I-cord bind off. These little loops get attached down, and then that's it, you're done. So I am kind of playing with my options. I'm definitely not going to do the pattern as written extended on for section 10. I am most likely going to do an early bind off, but I have an idea for another type of embellishment that I want to do. And I do have a decent amount of yarn remaining that I would be happy to use up because I'm not going to do anything else with this yarn. I've got all of this and then a little bit more here. So quite a decent amount of yarn, plenty of gray too left over. So yeah, I am exploring some things and I'm going to not share them with you today. I'm gonna make you wait until next week. Actually, you could watch next Tuesday's vlog, part 2, and I should have something done and picked out by then. I'm not 100% sure. I have to try it. So yeah, I'm almost done. I've also been weaving in my ends or knitting over them if I can as I go. And I just have to say, what a great feeling that is. What's really been a game changer for me is I have this little pouch that my friend Bethany gave me. And I have a needle, a little pair of scissors, a measuring tape, and then a bunch of light bulb stitch markers because they are so universal. And I packed it up when I went on a trip, and I've just kept it packed up like that and next to me on the couch. So I'll be sitting there and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to like knit anymore tonight. Or like I need a little break. Why don't I weave in some ends? And I just grab my little pouch off the shelf next to me, take the needle out, weave my ends in, cut the yarn. It's been great. Like I didn't realize that. I guess part of it is having the attitude of like, I want no ends because I want it to look finished. But the other part is just like, I didn't want to walk into my bedroom and like come all the way over here, which is where I have had in the past. Actually, it's empty now because it's in my pouch. But I have a little dish where I had my scissors and needle. Like I didn't want to do that. I'm not knitting here like ever. So it made more sense to have that next to me in the living room. There you go. Life hack for knitters. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna leave you hanging, and next week I should have a big, beautiful shawl to show you, and hopefully some new projects cast on, which we're gonna talk about here in a little bit on my plans. It seems like a short amount of time, 4 weeks, but it does feel like a long time to not start anything new or work on anything different. So I'm pretty excited for that, and I had a great time coming up with my plans the other day. So very, very excited. All right, you're safe to come back. No more twists and turns visuals. I might talk about it later, but I'm not going to share anything that reveals the pattern. Okay, I've actually worked on 2 other projects this week. I know, did you even know that I had 2 other projects? You probably did because I've talked about them before, but hey, you didn't know I was going to work on them. So I have 2 hats going. They're actually different hats, so let me talk about them one at a time. This one, I've got it in my Erin Lane bag from DFW Fiber Fest this year. I always use my bags a lot when I first get them, and then I don't. Something to think about. Okay, so I am using this amazing yarn. I also got at DFW Fiber Fest from Charming EU, and the color is Escalante. But the color is something that Kent picked out because it looks like the Miami Dolphins. So this is a 2x2 ribbed hat that previously was a pattern called 2x2 Rib for His Pleasure by Tink's Darker Side. Ha ha ha, very funny. And it's no longer on Ravelry. It was a free pattern, but I have made it like 3 times. I think this is my 4th or 5th time making it, and I've made some of my own adjustments, including a tubular, like 2x2 tubular cast on, and also changing the crown decreases. So all of my notes on this, if you want to make a pattern, make this pattern, are in my Ravelry page. I have exactly how I do it, and it's Kent size. So I don't really know. I haven't measured his head. But yeah, it's Kent size. So that may not be the most helpful thing, but you can at least kind of get the basic hat pattern. So last week I was right here, and this is, man, I keep breaking. Oh, that's the sad part, is things keep breaking off of my cute little stitch markers, but that's okay. That's because they're like, have little sticky outy things, and they're delicate, and I want to use them, so you know what? I'm going to use them. But anyway, I've done a few inches on the hat since last week, and all of that is from in the morning when I'm sitting and knitting and reading for 30 minutes, Monday through Friday is what I'm usually doing. I think I did work on it a little bit one night when I was taking a break from my shawl. But yeah, just chipping away every single day, doing a little bit on this hat. It's not a forefront project. It's kind of when I can get to it, when I'm out and about and just need something, which has been wonderful. So I have the yarn split into 2 50-gram skeins, and I am doing helical knitting, which is just like 1 row stripes to kind of help break up the pooling, and it's coming out great. Kent says he likes it, so very happy. I'm almost back around. So see this strand? So the 2 yarns in helical knitting like chase each other, sliding 3 stitches over at a time, and I've almost come back to the beginning of the round, which is kind of cool. That means we've almost made 1 full rotation. Nothing happens when you do that. You just keep going, but it feels like progress. So yay, I'm excited. I'm going to move my stitch marker. Actually, I'm probably going to change my stitch marker. I think I need think I need a refresh to get myself motivated to work on this project again. So I'm just gonna take the stitch marker out for now, and I will choose a new one out of my wonderful bucket of stitch markers back there. All right, I have one other project that I have been working on this week. We have lots of projects to talk about for future, so don't worry, we've got lots of knitting content coming up. But I pulled another one of Kent's hats out of the project basket. So this one has been on, what's it called, hibernation in my Ravelry project page. In fact, I'm not even gonna bring it to the top. I'm just gonna leave it where it is because I'm not really planning to work on this hat intentionally right now. I just needed a project that I could work on in the dark because we went to see a Broadway show last night. And because the other hat has helical knitting, I couldn't see like when to slip stitches and all of that. So I needed a project with one yarn. This is such a mess. I need to put that into a cozy for sure. So this is another hat for Kent. This one is in, did I even pull out the yarns? Oh, I do have them. This one is in a custom dyed yarn that I got several years ago from Rain's Obsessive Stitchery, and it is either Victory Park or the Hanger. I don't remember which one, but it doesn't really matter because I'm the only one with these yarns, so they can be whatever I want them to be. But I am making Kent a Muscle Burrow hat. Muscle Burrow is a hat patterned by Isolde Teague. I've made several of them and I'm starting to change them up. So you'll notice that this hat is 1x1 ribbing, and that is not the original pattern. The original pattern is just a stockinette stitch hat, but I have changed it. So I've got, this is mine, where one side is solid and ribbed and one side is stockinette and patterned. And then, you know, the Muscle Burrow, you open it up, flip one part inside the other, and you have a double thick hat. And by changing the colors and the stitch pattern, this one is like two hats in one. So you get the ribbed part, flip it, and you get the multicolored part. So this hat is hanging out in my whip basket because I'm not really keen on how the colors pooled. So I'm making Kent a matching hat, and on his, what I'm going to try is still using the same yarn, but I'm gonna do helical knitting like this one, and see if that will kind of break up the spiral a little bit and make it look a little different. So these hats are kind of just like hanging out together because there's no real rush to make them. It would be kind of cool to have them done by December though, because we are gonna go, wait, are we going to a Stars game? I think we're going to a Stars game in December, like mid-December. So it'd be kind of cool if they were finished and Kent and I could wear them. That would be so cute. But it's kind of like a thinking project a little bit, so I'm not too much in a rush to finish it. Kent really wants that Dolphins hat. I was working on this hat and then he was like, oh, I found this color, can you make me this hat? That was in September, and gosh, that was the end of September. It's already been over a month. So yeah, I started working on that hat, and then just a couple weeks ago at Rhinebeck, he picked out another yarn for a hat. So I kind of need to just like wrap up these hat projects. That's definitely been on my mind, but I think one at a time. It's too much to concentrate on two different ones. But I did do a little bit of knitting last night. That's actually quite a bit at the show that we went to. I'm going to take that marker off too because this project's just going to go away for a little while. It's going to hibernate for a little bit longer unless I need a project for my for knitting in the dark, like going to the movies or something. And yep, that's just going to hang out. Okay, that's all of my whips for now. But I have so many plans for November, so let's get into a little plans and dreams coming up. The start of a month is so much fun for me because I will sit down with my handy dandy notebook and I will kind of review what I want to work on for that month. Things don't always turn out the way that I plan in the beginning of the month, and that is more than okay. For me, it's more about just kind of going, okay, if there are important knitting things or crochet things that I want to do this month, how can I make sure that those happen? And then anything else that I have on my mind, I'm kind of making that decision now. I'm going to focus on it, or I'm going to go, you know what, that's not realistic. Let's save that for another time. And it's really helped me this year to stay focused on projects and get more, not only get more done, like finish more projects, but also make more things that I actually like and enjoy, and more quickly recognize when I'm not having a good time with my knitting. And I feel like you should always have a good time with your knitting. Even if it is your job, you should have a balance of what you're working on. So, somebody just like dropped something above me. Also, I'm like kind of a little distracted because I see police cars flashing like in Times Square. And I'm like, huh, what's going on down there? And my neighbor just came and got something out of her dresser. It's always a good time here. Okay, let's find out what my plans were for October. Try to flip to that page, and how things went. So in the last episode, I shared my October in and out for my stash. But this episode, we're going to talk about plans. So I tried something a little different in October. In the past, like earlier in the year, I would kind of make 3 columns. I would do, here are like all my current whips, here are things I want to cast on. And then I would say like, okay, I'm going to work on all of these projects this month, and I'm going to work on each one at a different point in the day. So it may look like, let's say for my hat and my shawl right now, I'm not going to show the shawl, but let's just say I would say, okay, I'm going to work on my hat like during my breakfast time because it's a simple project, my knitting and reading time. And I'm also going to work on it when I'm out and about. And then I'm going to work on my like shawl during lunch. And then maybe I'll work on my sweater in the evening or something like that. And that worked really well for me. It was great. But what I'm starting to realize now is that I'm a little more of like a one main project and something on the side kind of a person, and it helps me to focus more if I knit like that. I also think what I'm just realizing now talking this out with you and myself right now, and Toaster, he's here, is that I am already, now that I've been having that practice of like, I work on simple things in the morning and out and about, I work on a main project at lunch and in the evening, I don't have to write that down anymore. That's just something I do naturally. And so planning that way is not necessary for me anymore. And I'm trying a different way to plan. So here's what I did. In October, instead of writing down like, work on this sweater the whole month and this is what I'm going to do every day, I just broke things down into weeks. And I wrote the dates, and then I kind of had like little bullet point things. Like I didn't get into specifics like work on this sleeve this day or whatever until I needed it. Like when I needed it for my shawl, I did that, but I didn't write it down here. So in general, these were my October plans. One was to cast on the dolphin's hat, which I did. Here it is. The second thing was to cast on the twists and turns, and then each week I just kind of wrote like clue 1, clue 2, clue 3. And I have been doing that. I've been mostly keeping up with that, which is good. The third thing was to finish the my 2 Rhinebeck sweaters, which were Nurtured and Alpenglow. I think I had finished Alpenglow by the time I wrote this, so I just said Nurtured, and that was done. And then the fourth thing was to cast on some Halloween socks. That I did not do. So I have a little X, and that's okay. I just didn't have time to do that. Like I thought about it and I was like, oh, do I really want to make Halloween socks, or do I really want to like work on a Halloween project? And I realized that it wasn't really about the socks. It was more that I wanted to do something like in the theme of the month. And so when I thought about that versus continuing to put my knitting time into my shawl and stay caught up, that felt more important and in line with my goals. And so I was like, you know what? I don't need to do Halloween socks. It's totally fine. Because I didn't do the Halloween socks though, the Halloween yarn was in my stash and I knew I wouldn't work on it after Halloween. So I decided to then take that yarn out of my stash and use it as a prize for the Love and Stitches membership, which is what I've done, and it is now given away. So this is like the new process for me of how things are going. Of course, in the future, I'm hoping to have my stash eliminated, and so that I will buy yarn when I'm ready to use it, and I won't just like get yarn and then give it away, which is also, it's good too. That's fun too. But yeah, so those were my plans for the month. Everything pretty much went as planned-ish. My Rhinebeck sweaters took a little longer than I thought. I still need to go back and work on one of them. That's coming up in my November plans. And the only big thing that didn't happen is the Halloween socks, and problem solved, the yarn is now gone. So all good. Plans are just there to be a guide and not a restriction for me. They're a map, but they're only one path, right? Like you don't have to take that path. It's just nice to have it out of your brain and onto the paper. So with that being said, let's talk about November's plans. Let me flip some pages here. I just started doing this like a couple months ago, but I really like having my in and out for my stash next to my plans for the month. I mean, it's really nice because I'm podcasting and I'm showing you, and like sometimes I would put my plans and then like on the page next to it, it would be like something private, like our budget or something. So it was hard for me to show it to you, but it's also just nice to like see both things happening because they are related to me. You know, I am trying to eliminate my stash this year. It's already November, and so I'm coming to the end of that. And so it kind of helps me see both things in one space. I love it. Okay, so November plans. I did something, again, slightly different. I kind of took a little overview and I just wrote down all the things that I was thinking about for this month, whether they were gonna be good, like whether they were going to happen or not. I was like, let me just write down everything I'm thinking about for November. Let's just get it all out on the paper and then let's see where it actually fits into the month. And I did the weekly things again. This time though, when I did weekly, I made my dates, aside from November 1st, because it's a Tuesday, I made my dates start on Monday. So this is like a Monday to a Sunday. Because for me, even though I do think the week starts on Sunday, Kent and I argue about this all the time, whether the week starts on Sunday or Monday. I feel like when I imagine a calendar, the week starts on Sunday. But when I imagine my knitting, I'm usually trying to wrap things up over a weekend. And then, I mean, I guess I don't really start new things on Monday. I usually start new things on the weekend too, but I usually I don't think about finishing things Saturday night. You know, I think about having a weekend to finish a goal. So that's how I wrote my dates. I don't know. I think that that's going to be not a huge change or anything, but it was just something I was thinking about when I was planning. Okay, so here's what's on my mind for this month. First, hats. I don't know exactly what, but I want to start getting these hats finished. So hats are on my mind. Finishing my stash. December is Advent knitting, and I want to have my stash completed, or at least a plan to complete it by the end of November. Because in December, I'm going to be working on my Advent yarn, and that's not going to be working through stash. So I got to have a plan now. I need to fix my Alpenglow. So here it is. I need to elongate it. So I am planning to pick up stitches and cut off this portion and make it longer. And I am thinking about having a little tutorial-ish in next week's podcast, because that's our little quick tip podcast. So look out for that then. I want to start 2 new sweaters, which are the last 2 sweaters quantities in my stash. And of course I need to finish my twists and turns. That's not really on here too much because it's almost done, but that is something I need to think about over the next couple of days because it will take me a couple more days to finish it. So, oh, and the last thing, sorry, this is one of the most important things. This month, I am focusing on charity knitting within the Love and Stitches membership. This is our Giving Mal. And so we are partnering up with Knitted Knockers. And so I am going to make some knitted knockers for the month. I don't know if I'm gonna knit them or crochet them or both, or what yarn I'm gonna use yet, but that needs to be on my plan because that's important and I want to do that this month. Okay, so once I wrote all those things out, I'm like, all right, let's try to piece things into the weeks. You'll see already that weeks 3 and 4 of the month, this is kind of like a 5-week month, so I only have dates through the 27th, but that gives me a little wiggle room too. I don't have everything written in for the last 2 weeks because I kind of want to see what happens in the first couple of weeks, and then I can reevaluate and tweak things and so on. So that just leaves me the space to do that instead of saying like, this is how everything has to go. Let's see how it starts first. Okay, so in the first week, I am planning to finish we're in the first week right now, by the way, November 1st through the 6th. So starting today, Tuesday, November 1st, through Sunday, November 6th. That's my first week. Okay, so finish twists and turns. That's one goal. I want to go ahead and fix my alpenglow. That's a second one. And then I'm going to swatch for a new sweater, which I will talk about in just a moment. Okay, so that seems like a pretty solid first week. Past me would probably want to say like, start my new sweater, completely, finish a hat or whatever. But realistic Natalie, who has been doing this and practicing this for a while, sees that that's already more than enough to do. And I'm trying to knock out my tedious tasks first before doing something fun and new, like casting on a new sweater, which I really, really, really want to do. I want to fix that alpenglow first. Okay, the next week, I am planning to start my knitted knockers because I do want to go ahead and get that started. That to me is one of the most important things for the month. I'm going to start one of my new sweaters that I'll swatch for over the weekend and then swatch for the next sweater. If I wasn't trying to finish my stash this month, I probably wouldn't be casting on 2 sweaters. So that's why I'm just gonna stop at swatching and then see how things are going. Do I wanna go ahead and start the second sweater, or do I want to like keep working on the first sweater that I cast on to a certain point? I don't know yet. TBD, but that's my plan for November so far. And then as far as the hats go, they're just gonna remain like side projects. And again, when I get like 2 weeks into the month, I'm gonna kind of see where I'm at. Do I wanna take a day and like push through like the crown of a hat or something like that? We'll see when we get there. But I do wanna share with you my 2 sweaters that I'm planning because that is something that has me really excited. Okay, so the first one is with this yarn. This is Magpie by Spin Cycle Dyed in the Skein. I don't know. You may recognize this yarn because this is the first yarn that I got for my alpenglow. This sweater. Oh gosh. This sweater. And I think I made the right choice. I think this color turned out to be so much better, this main color, with the what's it called? The other Spin Cycle, the unicorn, than this would have been, but it did leave me with 4 skeins of this yarn. And there was a sweater that I was attracted to right away that I wanted to knit, and that one is called the Birch Sweater by Andrea Mowry, because I have been wanting to, for a while, replace one of the store-bought sweaters that I own that has kind of like that half brioche look. But then a new sweater came out by Emily Green called the Citrine Light. And I had to look up how to say this word. I think it is citrine light. It's hard for me to say, I don't know, because I wasn't saying it right in my head for a long time, but the Citrine Light. And that then like trumped the Birch sweater in my head for like what I was actually looking for. The other factor is that I only have 4 skeins of this yarn, which may seem like a lot, but these are actually 75 gram skeins. So I have about 1,200 yards in total. That's not a ton of yarn for a long sleeve sweater, especially one that has a lot of twisted ribbing and everything in it. That definitely eats up more yarn. So I started doing some research on Sunday and I looked at the Birch again. I still really like that sweater. It's an Andrea Mowry pattern. It's beautiful, but it needed like 1,600 yards. So that was way too far off from what I have, which is for 1,200 yards. So then I went back to the Citrine Light by Emily Green, and I looked at that one, and the smallest size is actually the size that I would make, which is surprising to me. I'm not usually making the smallest size in a sweater. Usually the second or third size is mine. But it needed like 200 more yards than I have, I think. So I was like, darn, okay, fine. I can't make the Citrine Light. So then I started going through all the Ravelry sport weight patterns, and I actually found a really beautiful one that I added to my queue. And wait, hold on. I feel like I want to share this with you because it is a very beautiful pattern, and it didn't use quite as much yarn because it didn't have as many twisted stitches, and I think it's a little shorter. And it is called Yoki by Marianne Munier, and it is a beautiful sweater. but it still really wasn't what I wanted to make. I was like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do by eliminating my stash. I'm trying to get myself to a blank slate place where I am choosing what I want to make and what I want to use to make it first and foremost, before I'm going, oh, I have this yarn though, so I should use my yarn and make something that's like kind of what I want to make just because it fits the yarn. Like, this is a place that I want to be out of, and that's one of my biggest motivators for eliminating my stash right now. And so then I was like, okay, if I didn't have this yarn already, if I was just like picking out, like, you know, unlimited budget, unlimited time, I had all the resources in the world, you know, just yarn around me, which sweater do I want to make? And the answer was the citrine light. So then I went back to the citrine light. This is a big story for something that's so silly, but I went back to the citrine light and I was like, okay, how far off am I? What are my options? Could I buy more yarn? Well, I could, but it wouldn't be the same dye lot. It would probably look different. So that's probably not going to work. And then I had a little bit of a regret because I actually did have one more skein of this yarn in a mauvey purple color. And it was, again, part of the first Alpenglow set. And I decided I wasn't going to use it. And so I gave it away. And I was like, you know what? I should have kept it because I could have used it at like the end of the sweater on the sleeves. But then I realized, like, Natalie, that's not what you want. You want an all white sweater. So don't, you know, spend your time and waste your energy feeling guilty about getting rid of something you could have used. So, okay, getting more yarn is not an option. Using a different color is not an option because, again, that's not what I am envisioning for this sweater. So then I started looking through all the project pages for the citrine light and I realized something. And this is very risky, so we might have to like save this moment right here to share later because I'm gonna be regretting saying this, but out of the projects that I was looking at, people that were making a size 2 or 3 sizes bigger than mine were using about the same amount of yarn that I actually have. So what that means is that people who were making a size, I think that her sizes are just like 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say I looked at a couple projects where somebody made a size 3 and they actually only use like 1,300 yards and I have 1,200 yards. So I was like, okay, well, their size estimate says they're going to use X, but they actually use less. So I might actually be okay. But I do realize that this is a very big risk because I'm going into this sweater with probably not enough yarn, but maybe enough yarn. And I don't want to add a different yarn to it. So it's risky. But at least at this moment, I am settled in on the citrine light with this yarn and I'm excited about it. And I hope this color is okay to wear. And I'm excited to replace my white sweater, my cream sweater. Sorry about that. My memory card just ran out of room because I forgot to delete last week's podcast before starting this one. And there's a lot of other stuff on there. A podcast doesn't normally take up a whole memory card. So anyway, what was I saying? If it all goes to plan, I will use 4 skeins out of stash when I start my citrine light. And this is the first sweater that I'm going to start with. That I hope to be swatching over the weekend and seeing if everything works out. There's also that danger of not being able to get gauged because it's not exactly the right yarn. I believe that citrine light is actually a fingering weight pattern, but this yarn is mostly like fingering weight because it's 300 yards for 75 grams. And I believe I did the math correctly and figured out that if it was a 100-gram skein, it would be 400 yards. And I know lots of fingering weight yarns that are 400 yards. So that was a lot about that sweater. That's funny. It just landed in my whip basket. Okay, let's talk about the next sweater. The other sweater that I think I'm even more excited to knit, which is why I'm kind of like resisting and holding off knitting it until second, because it's a little more festive and wintry. And I think that even if I get it started, like let's say in November, in December, and I don't get to totally finish it, I will be, oh, you know what? I think I might be thinking about this backwards. What I was about to say is I'm more excited about this sweater. It's gonna be festive and holiday-like. So actually it probably makes more sense for me to start with this sweater so I can wear it during the holiday season, whereas the citrine light will be a beautiful sweater even in January. So I think I might have just figured something out and I need to make a little switch. Perfect. Okay. Anyway, here's my next yarn. This is a Chelsea Luxe, says duet because there's actually 2 skeins in here. This is a special Grace and Pearl colorway from the shop in New Jersey. So there is a kid silk mohair and then a merino nylon called Cobblestone. And I am hoping that this is going to work for the Diaphanous Raglan by Jessie Made Designs. So the Diaphanous Raglan is a beautiful sweater where I believe she combines fingering weight and mohair in the center, and then the sleeves are like just mohair. There's a version that has little like ruffles on the sleeves, but I'm planning to do the long sleeve bishop sleeve version. And I think it's super, super pretty, and probably just a body that is has no decreases or waist shaping, just straight. I've seen this done with these 2 types of yarns, a mohair and a like nubby yarn made by Maddie, and I love how hers turned out. So I'm hoping I like how mine turns out. I'm also a little concerned about the color for me. Like I think the white is good, but I'm not so sure about the tan because I am fair skinned. I worry that it's a little too close to my skin tone and might not look good. So swatching is going to help me figure that out. With this, I don't think I need to worry about my yardage because I've got 2 of these, which is 4 skeins in total. And so the center part, the body panel, will be this yarn. So it'll be a more solid look. And then the sleeves will be this yarn. I'm not sure if the center panel will hold the 2 together or not. I need to look at what Maddie did and figure that out, but I'm really excited to give this a try. And again, I think it will be a festive holiday sweater. So I should probably start with this, right? So that I can have it done and wear it in December, and then I can be working on my citrine light as just a winter sweater. I think that sounds like a good plan. So this will be another 4 skeins out of stash because each of these bundles is 2 skeins, a mohair and cobblestone, and I've got 2 of these. Those will be my last 2 sweaters quantities out of stash, so I cannot wait to get started on them. I've missed working on sweaters. I felt like I was done with sweaters. Well, I was kind of getting a little over sweaters when I was working on them for Rhinebeck. And then I started on the shawl, and like about a week later, I was like, I want to work on sweaters again. So I've been itching to do some sweaters. So very excited for my November plans, casting on new sweaters, working on knitted knockers, finishing some things, and we're just gonna knock it out of the park in November. I have just a little bit of news to share this week. It's mostly about Sockmas because that is coming up later in November and I'm so excited for it. But first, I've got a brand new video. It is all about the Twists and Turns shawl. I'm not going to show it again, but part 1 is out already. It is a long video because it's a kind of a vlog style, definitely a vlog style, where I was recording every other day or so while I was actually working on the twists and turns. Actually, it goes further back to when I got my yarn and my kit. I show everything in it, and then I kind of talk about starting the first clue and how I felt during the clue in real time when I actually was doing it. So I think it's a very fun video, but again, it is a long one, like as long as a podcast. So put it on, you know, while you're doing the dishes or working on a project. And I also have put in that description box chapters. So if you're like, okay, I don't want to see the kit, but I want to skip ahead to clue 1, you'll see where that starts and you can, you know, kind of go through the video in a way that keeps you entertained and having a good time. That is my hope for all of my videos, to keep you entertained and oftentimes also to share information. Anyway, part 1 has clues 1 and 2. And then part 2 is going to be coming out this coming Tuesday. So I've got some work to do later today. I got to get started editing it. I'm really excited for it. I've been editing this one myself. Usually Kent edits all of our videos and he's been doing an amazing, amazing job. But this one, because it was I was thinking about it so much while I was doing it, like Kent wasn't filming it with me. I really wanted to do it myself. So hopefully you like what I have in there. May not be as polished as Kent's videos, but I did my best. So yeah, coming up is gonna be part 2. No sneak peeks on those because I don't want to share any spoilers. Okay, let's talk about Sockmas. So Sockmas is my next upcoming make along that is about knitting or crocheting socks for the holidays. So you can, don't start yet, starts November 25th, Friday, November 25th, the day after Thanksgiving. We're going to do a kickoff YouTube live at noon on Friday, November 25th. You don't have to wait till noon to cast on. You can cast on at like midnight if you want to, whatever, but just don't start your socks until November 25th. The goal is to knit or crochet a pair of socks, so 2 socks. It can be 2 socks that match or 2 socks that don't match. I don't care if they match. If you have a half of a pair from sock week and you want to like finish that one and then like knit another sock too, fine by me, just has to be 2 socks. The other rules are down below in the information page. But yeah, it's coming up very soon. Now, I just checked this morning for our 2 Sockmas sponsors, and there is no yarn for sale right now. There was a second update last week, but currently no yarn for sale, but I will let you know if that changes. And I did see one of our bags. Actually, I meant to grab one, so hang on, let me grab it. Should have just had this pulled out anyway. This is not the bag that's for sale. This is the medium-sized bag. The bag that I still saw was the sock pouch, which is still a good size. It's got a tiny box bottom, but it should be plenty big for making your socks. And I saw that black and red was still for sale. So check out White Rose Fiber Company, see if they're still there. And you know what I just realized is, this is the Mandy's Makings yarn, by the way. This needs to be part of my November plans because I'm going to be casting on November 25th. But I'm going to just worry about that later. We're just going to pretend that that's December's problem. Because that feels overwhelming to have that many things going on right now. But there's something else that is coming up even sooner, and that is the holiday bonus package. So this is a package that I'm putting together that is a series of events that are kind of a crossover from Sockmas and Vlogmas. So I'm going to be vlogging every single day starting December 1st. That will be on my YouTube channel. It will be free. You can just watch it just like you watch any of these videos. But if you're looking for something a little bit more and you want a little bit more from Sockmas too, you're gonna love this holiday bonus package. I am working on putting together the complete web page for it. So if it's ready by the time I post this, it will be linked down below too. But it's on a separate page than the Sockmas info page, but it will be linked on there. So just a quick overview, it's going to include 5 events and a Discord group. So Discord is a free application where it's like a better Instagram message. It's very organized. It's not even like an Instagram message, it's like a chat board. So we'll have a place for Sockmas where you can ask sock questions, you can share your pattern ideas, all of that. And then we'll have another section for Advent where you can share your Advent pattern ideas. We'll have one day, a thread for each day of Advent where if you want to share your yarn as you're opening it, you can post a picture in there. It's going to be really fun, and it's just a great place to have that online community, and especially if you don't have other knitters and crocheters that you regularly meet with, have a space where you can share and interact and all of that. It's very, very fun. So the Discord will be part of this package, and then the other 5 events are going to be 2 Zooms. Right now we have one that's going to be with our 2 Sockmas sponsors, Courtney and Amanda. We're going to do an interview with them, kind of get a behind the scenes, see what it's like being a yarn dyer and a bag maker and how that fits into their life. The second one is going to be with a sock expert because again, we're crossing over with Sockmas. So we're going to get lots of tips from that person, and I will share with you once I can confirm the date with them, who that is. And then 2 are going to be YouTube lives with myself and probably Kent, who's going to be helping me. And these are going to be more Vlogmas related. behind the scenes of Vlogmas. We're gonna take you around New York City. So we have one daytime planned where we're gonna take you to Central Park and we're gonna go to some of the holiday markets and we're just gonna be casual and I'm gonna walk around with the camera showing things. And if you're like, hey Natalie, what was that? I'll be like, okay, let's see what that was. So it's really fun. It's kind of like the Sockmas or Sock Week ones we did in the summer where I'm gonna be out and about somewhere. It's gonna be fun. We're just gonna chit chat and it's gonna be a great time. Then the other YouTube event will be a nighttime event. There's so many things happening here in New York City and we want to show them off. So for the nighttime one, we're going to attempt to go to Times Square to the menorah lighting that happens in, I think it's like December 18th. I'll have all the dates in the package so you can like make sure this is something you can attend or want to see recorded, because all the events will be recorded too before you purchase the package. But we're gonna try to go to the menorah lighting, then walk up Fifth Avenue, which is where Saks is, where they have, I think it's Saks. Anyway, there's like one department store that has a light show, and then of course go to the Rockefeller Christmas tree. So it'll be fun. It'll be like, these things will be in Vlogmas, but it'll just be like, you know, a 15-second clip. Whereas in the YouTube video, it's gonna be live. You're gonna be with me. We're gonna be with Kent. We're gonna be walking around. It should be a really good time. And then the last event, so it's 2 Zooms that are interviews, 2 YouTube lives that are with me and Kent, kind of behind the scenes of Vlogmas. And then the last one is going to be a movie night. So this one, please make sure to read everything about it, because I don't want anyone to be disappointed if they're not able to access this, because there are 2 things that you need in addition to just having internet. You will need a Netflix account, because we are going to be watching a Netflix movie, and I am not going to get in trouble for you by streaming a Netflix movie on Zoom or something like that. So we're going to use this platform called Teleparty. So that's the second part. The platform called Teleparty, it has to be on a laptop or desktop. Doesn't work on a phone or an iPad or a TV. So I want you to know that, because I want you to get everything out of the package that you can. And we're going to be watching the movie together, and it's going to be at the same time. Teleparty lets me have control. So basically I'll tell everyone what time we're going to start the movie. We'll all get on there a few minutes early, and then I will hit the play button and it will play for everyone at the same time, even though we'll all be logged into our own computers and Netflix accounts. Just want to make that very, very clear. And then on the side, it has a chat. So we can chat like, oh my gosh, can't believe that they just did this. Oh my goodness. Or like, you can even click little emojis and they will like go across the screen. It's a very fun way to watch a movie. And of course, we're going to talk about what we're knitting, etc. So you'll be able to watch the movie, but also have this like chat going on the side that I just find very entertaining. We do this for the membership a lot, and it's so much fun. I think we'll probably also kind of like before that talk about maybe some holiday drinks or treats to make in our Discord thread and share what we're having to snack on during it. So the holiday, all the events will be described in the link down below as long as I have it ready for you, but they go on sale November 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if this holiday bonus package is something that you're interested in, it's 5 events plus a Discord. It is $25. That's $5 per event, plus the Discord is included in there. The Discord is, you'll get access on November 11th, like as soon as you sign up or whatever day you sign up, all the way through the end of the year, through December 30th. I wanted that to be like a little bit of an extra time. And then the events are scattered throughout the last week of November up to like the 3rd week of December. So they do end before Christmas, because those last 2 weeks of the year are crazy. But all the details so that you know exactly what's in it and exactly what you are getting is going to be on that webpage link down below. So next Friday, mark your calendars. There are a lot of spots available. I don't anticipate needing to limit things. I think I can take up to like 500 people. So I don't think you need to worry about being there right on time, but I will just keep you posted in case that does happen. Okay, I think that's everything about the holiday bonus package. Please don't feel like this is something you must get. This is a bonus. This is an addition. You can still participate in both Sockmas and Vlogmas for absolutely free. without having to do any of these other events. This is just something a little extra if you're looking for some more fun for your holiday. Okay, I think that's all the news that I have. So let's move on to the next segment. Life has been mostly work for the past week, but I did do a few exciting things over the weekend. But let's talk about first, I went to the doctor again. I think I shared last week that we went to the doctor for like the first time since pre-pandemic. And so this past week we had to go get our blood work done. And then I've also had an issue with varicose veins. I don't know if you ever noticed, but I'm like always wearing this little guy. Oh gosh, I just kicked my computer. But I had both of those things done and whatever. I have to talk to my doctor about blood work, and then I am gonna have to get another vein procedure, boo. But you know what? It's okay. I am happy that we've got the ball rolling and we're taking care of ourselves again. That is so important, and it's really hard. Nobody told me that it was gonna be so hard to make a doctor's appointment, both mentally and physically, and to figure out insurance, and it's so difficult. I wanted to call my mom and be like, can you make me an appointment? I don't want to. I mean, I think that I'm not alone in this, or at least I hope I'm not, but I'm doing it. And if you're holding off on getting something done that you need to get done because you're worried about how much it's gonna cost or how long it's gonna take, or you just feel too busy, just please take a moment, take 1 hour. Take it out of your work day. I know you don't want to be there. I always used to do that. I would like call my doctor at work. Sorry, boss. But do it. It is worth it. Taking care of yourself is so important. So anyway, we did that. And then on the weekend, we met our friends Amy and Ian, who you might have seen in my Rhinebeck video, at Bryant Park here in New York City, and walked around the Winter Village. So that's what's so fun about the holiday season in New York, is that there's so many different things that pop up temporarily, and the Bryant Park Winter Village is one of the best ones. So we're definitely going to be showing that in Vlogmas this year. It's on the calendar, and we're going to do it in the holiday bonus package in even more depth. So it's going to be very fun. And then on Sunday, we kind of just I actually did a lot of work because I was editing on the Twists and Turns shawl video, but then we ended the night by watching a bunch of Halloween movies and ordering pizza, which is one of our Halloween traditions. We did that on Sunday the 30th because on Halloween night, on the 31st, we had tickets to go see Beetlejuice, which is a Broadway musical here in New York, and it's so good. It's so funny and entertaining. We'd seen it once in July with my parents, or June, I think it was, and then Kent actually went and saw it a second time because he just loves it so much. And so when we found out they were doing an extra show on Halloween, we got tickets. We got tickets really far back because we just wanted to be in the room, and it was really fun though. It was a great way to spend Halloween. A lot of people in New York, adults and children, dress up and go out on Halloween, so you see a lot of people out in costumes, and it's a lot of fun. But we just went to our show, came home, watched Hocus Pocus. I fell asleep in the last 30 minutes, and it was the best Halloween. So it was great. Oh, I also had people ask about trick-or-treating, and most of the trick-or-treating in New York City kind of happens at businesses. So grocery stores and, I don't know, laundromats and whatever's open in the evening will say put a little sign out that says we have candy, and kids will trick-or-treat at businesses because there aren't really houses here to trick-or-treat at least not in the area that I'm in. And then our building, because we're all apartments, had a list in the lobby for the past 3 weeks, and you could sign up to say that you were passing out candy. Then they emailed that list of the apartment numbers so that people with families or kids could know which apartments to go to and trick-or-treat at. So we weren't here, so we didn't get to participate, but that's how it goes in New York City. All right, I am still reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn, Hugo, but I'm almost done. I've got 10% of the book left, and I've got my next book lined up, and so I'm excited and ready, and I'm enjoying the book. And then we have been continuing to watch Daybreak on Netflix. It's a silly show. And I also started this weekend Love is Blind season 3, and It is so good if you like any of those type of shows like The Ultimatum or Bachelor or whatever, Married at First Sight. Love is Blind is very good. So thank you all for that recommendation on Instagram, because I watched probably 6 or 7 episodes throughout the weekend and I can't wait to watch more this weekend. Okay, weekly wins. It's that time to think about something that's happened in the last week that you're proud of yourself for. Please always be looking for those things because you need to lift yourself up first. So I have another cleaning thing. I think I had a cleaning thing last week, like keeping my laundry folded. I'm literally looking at a basket of laundry that needs to be put away right now. So you know what? You win some, you lose some. But I did start a new cleaning routine this week. I used to do a lot better, or like stay more on top of my cleaning when I was also doing a cleaning and organizing channel. It's something that's more natural for me. I do like doing it, but I think having it as where every time I cleaned, I felt like I needed to take a picture of it or like record it got me burnt out a little bit on cleaning. And so I was just not keeping a routine as good as I used to. So I'm not posting on that channel anymore, Instagram or YouTube. I just kind of stopped. And so I think I've had some time to kind of get away from that. And now I'm finding the joy in like keeping cleaning and tidying and all of that again. And so I started a new routine this week that I am taking from the Tidy Dad. He is a dad, actually lives in Queens here in New York City and has 3 kids, and he's married, he's a teacher, and he has an Instagram account where he talks about his cleaning all of the time. He is like over the top, but I'm kind of over the top in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to cleaning. So I decided to start following his routine. And so he posts just about every day on Instagram stories. So like on Monday, he's like, it's bathroom day, I'm cleaning the bathroom. So I was like, sweet, I'm cleaning the bathroom. On Tuesday, which was today, I'm cleaning the kitchen. I'm like, all right. So I got myself some water and some dish soap and I'm cleaning the kitchen cabinets, which is something I would probably not do for over a year if I didn't have somebody telling me that that's what they're doing. So anyway, I'm proud of myself for starting this new cleaning routine. I'm going to give it, I'm not expecting myself to be perfect at it. That's what Tidy Dad Tyler said. And I am just going to do as much as I have time for every morning, and it will get easier and better, I think. So I'm proud of myself for that. And I'm almost proud of myself for finishing this shawl. You can also be almost proud of yourself for future you. All right, I think that's enough silliness for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Tuesday with a new shawl update, part 2 of the shawl, and next week with a new podcast, hopefully some new projects. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.